Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make your very own stationary bed. So what it looks like is you've got two pillows and then you've got, or I like to call it the blanket, you've got the legs, and then you've also got the top of the bed as well, which is here, the bed head. This is where you can store bullet clips. You can have, if we open up the lid or the blanket, you've got all these compartments. So you can put pens here, you can put sticky notes or erasers, and you can also put paper clips under the pillows, which is pretty cool. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. What we want to do, let's make a new work plane here. And what we want to do is we are going to be using the cubes a lot. So let's start off with a cube. All right, so let's pop that in. And we want to change the measurements. So let's do the length 100 millimeters. Well, I don't have to type in the mm. And the width, let's make that 155. There we are. So it should look something like this. Now this is quite thick. So what we want to do is we want to change that to 15 millimeters, the height. There we go. All right, so this is our base at the moment. All right, so let's get the bed head done. So we'll get that in there. So what we want to do is we want to grab another cube. All right, and then what we want to do with that cube is we want to change the measurements again. So we'll match the bed. So we go 100 millimeters in the length, and then the width, oops, no, let's just move it out of the way. And the width, we want to change that to 50. All right, and now we need to change the height. And the height, oh no, not 50, sorry, what am I doing? 2.4 or 2. No, 2.4. 2.4 is good. There we go. And now we want to change the height, and we want to change that to 50 millimeters. Sorry, I got a little bit confused there. There we go. That looks a bit better. And then what we want to do, let's just pop that on the back of the bed, and let's just see what it looks. Let's just see what it looks like here. So it's not quite aligned. So let's highlight that, and let's align it to the middle. So we'll pop it here. There we go. And maybe the middle here. Yep, there we go. And that is what we want it to look like. So that is the start at the moment. All right, let's move on. What we want to do, we want to make our spot where we want to put all the stationery in, so the middle of the bed. So again, we are going to use the cube. So let's drag that in there. And what we want to do, let's change those measurements. We want to do a length of 122, and we want to do the width at 85. So we can't match the bed, obviously, because we do need to have a border around it so the stationery can hold. And let's make that height 17. So let's pop that in there. All right. Now what we need to do, so if we pop that here, might be easier if I change the color. Let's make it green. So you can see here, it gives us a good border, which is good. And we need a spot for the pillows as well. So I'm going to push that down a bit. And what we need to do is we need to make a hole. So we push hole. There we go. And now we need to make sure that this is aligned. So let's highlight that. We want to align it. We want to make sure that it's sitting in the middle, sitting beautifully. Yep, that looks good, but I just want to push it down. Actually, no, before I do that, let's pop that where we think is the middle. So here, and let's align it again. Because if I align it up here, it's just going to push it on top. So I just want to align it in the middle, which looks like it is, which is perfect. And we need to make sure that the hole is not going under, which it looks like it slightly might be. So I want to raise it just a little bit higher. Now let's have a look here. Yep, there we go. So let's group that and it should make our hole. So what we do is we want to highlight and we want to group. There we are, perfect. So this is the start. This is where we're going to put our stationery. All right, the next step, let's make our pillows. So again, we're going to use the cube. Cube is our best friend here. So let's change color so we don't get confused. Let's just make it, let's go blue. All right, so the pillows are going to be holes anyway, so it doesn't really matter what color we use. Let's change those measurements. So I reckon let's make the width, we'll go maybe 37. And we want to do the length, we'll go 17. All right. And what we need to do is change the height, and we'll make that 12. All right. So now it's getting its shape, but we need to make it look like a pillow. So what we need to do here is we need to go to radius, and we just need to get rid of those corners. Let's just pull them in a bit. There we go. That looks good. So that's kind of looking like a pillow now. And what we want to do then, we are going to use this again to make the lid. So let me just copy that and leave it to the side. And what we want to do here is convert that to a hole. So we want 2 pillows. So let's make a copy. And then what I want to do here is I want to align them. So this will make it easier when we're putting them together. No, we don't want to do that one. That's perfect. So let's get a bird's eye view of our bed. There it is. Oh, whoops. Oh, I didn't group them. Whoops, sorry. So what we need to do, highlight that and group it. So we can move them as one. Perfect. Oh, let's make it a little bit higher so we can see. Excellent. All right, so here it is on the bed now. And we want to make sure that there's enough room. Let's move it a bit back. That looks perfect. Let's see if we can align this one. Don't know that we can. No, that is okay. So what we want to do now is we want to push that down. Where's that triangle gone? There it is. Let's push that down. And we want to make enough room for that hole. So that looks good to me here. I'll just get another bird's eye view of it. Good. We're going to make sure that it's not going down the bottom. Not perfect. And let's group that. And group. Perfect. There we are. So this is where we can put like paper clips and things like that, which is going to be really handy. All right, so we've done the pillows. Now, let's make the lid. So we'll make all the lids. So the lid for the middle. So that would be this one here. All right, so that's this one here. We put a little handle on it so it's easily taken off and on. So or you can put it off and on. So how we make the lid, again, we want to use a cube. And this pillow we are going to use again, so I'll just leave that to the side. And what we want to do with this one is we want to change the length and the width again. Let's go 92 by, oops, that was not typing. Let's go 92 by, let's have a look. By 124. Perfect. All right, so now this is quite thick. We don't want that, so let's make it 2 millimeters. Perfect. All right, let me change color. This is, hopefully it doesn't get confusing. All right. And then what we want to do is we want to make the handle so we can easily take it off and on our bed. So let's grab a cylinder. Cylinder is probably the best thing to use for the handle. And let's change that. Let's make it an easy 7 by 7. All right, that's looking good. And then what we want to do, we're going to make sure that that handle is in the middle. So let's go align, pop that in the middle and pop that in the middle. Perfect. And then what we want to do, let's push that down just a little bit. We don't want it to go to the bottom. Let me just see what that looks like. Yep, that looks good. And then what we want to do is group it so they can stay together. Perfect. So now, actually no, that's too high. Let's push that down. Whoops, I totally forgot that. Yeah, let's go with little, yeah, that looks good to me. That's a good finger height. So let's group that. Perfect, that look is looking great. So let's push that one to the side. Now, if you do want to 3D print this, you're going to 3D print these separately because it won't work if you have them all together. So you print them off separately. So we'll make all these separate pieces. All right. The next one is let's make the lids for the pillow. So let's use this one and let's just change it up a bit. We do need to make it just slightly bigger so it does cover everything. So let's go 41 by 18. Perfect. All right. And now we just need to make the handle again. Oh, I could have just copied that one. That's all right. We'll just grab this. And then we'll go 7 by 7. And 7. Perfect. Let's pop it on our pillow. Let me just move it over there. And oops, let me just bring this closer, shall we? Might be easier. And what we want to do, yeah, that look, maybe go a little lower. Oh no, that's going to go down. We'll go maybe here and push that down. Perfect. Oh, maybe a little bit higher just for the fingers. That looks good. And now what we want to do is we want to group, actually no, before we group it, we need to make sure it's in the middle. Yep, middle and middle, excellent. And then now we want to group it. Perfect, so we need 2 of these because we've got 2 pillows. So let's just pop that to the side. Perfect. All right, we're getting there. All right, so let's just make them a little bit thinner. They just did look a bit too thick to me, so let's make them 10 millimeters thin. Let's change the height. Yep, perfect. That looks much better. All right, excellent. We've got our 2 pillows. All right, next, what we want to do is let's make the compartments. So if we look at the finished one, we've got our compartments here. So everything can be in its place. And how to do this one can get a little bit tricky. What we want to do is we want to grab the cylinder and, sorry, not the cylinder, the cube. We want to grab the cube and we want to change it. We'll go 123 by 4. Oops, let me zoom back in. By 4. And we want to change the height to 14. So let's give that a go. Let's change the color so we don't get confused. Let's make it purple. Oh no, we've already got a purple. Let's make it green. All right. So what we want to do here is we want to pop that in the middle. Oh, that looks like it's the perfect measurement. Yep. Now, oops, let's move that. That is looking good. Now, I don't know if we can align on this one. Let's give it a go. So if we go align, oops, no, not group. If we want to highlight it and we want to align it, will that do it for us? Yes, pop that in the middle. Perfect. We've got to make sure that it's stuck in there. Yep, that is looking perfect. So let's group that one. So it's stuck in there. So this piece we can print this off as one. All right. And then now what we want to do is we want to make that separate piece here. So we can separate the others. If you want 2 long ones, you don't have to do this bit. But if you want to separate them, let's do it now. So what we want to do again is we want to grab a cube. Just move these out of the way. All right, and then what we want to do is for the small one, we'll go 43. I know my numbers are quite particular. And by 3. Perfect. And oh, that height looks pretty good. Let's change the color. And let's just see if that will fit. Even if it overlaps, that's good. So we know that it will stick together. But we may need to push it down a little bit. So the height was 14. Yeah, that's at 20. So we don't want that. Yep, let's match. Oops, did I do that? We want to match that height. Perfect. And there. Oops, and let's just have a look. We'll zoom out a bit. Yep, that's looking good. I don't know if it will let us align it. Let's have a look. No, that will pop it there. Oh, yep. And we want to move it a bit more here. Yep, that is looking perfect. And now let's group that so it all stays stuck together. Yep, that's exactly what we want. Excellent. All right, the next step, which I think now is the final step. Well done for getting this far. What we want to do is we want to pop the legs on. You don't have to have legs if you don't want to. So if you don't want legs, then you're done. And you can 3D print it. You make sure that you just 3D print each separate part. Do not print them stuck together. But if you want legs, I think the legs really make it. Let's do that now. So what we want to do, let's raise the bed. And what we want to do is we'll make it out of cubes. Here we go. And to do the legs, quite easy. We'll just make it 7 by 7. And the heights, we will make that, let's go 16 millimeters. All right, and let's change the color. Let's make it blue. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to pop it under the bed. And let's raise it. So we need to make sure that we're zooming in. And I think we can use the align tool for this. I just don't want to make it too long. And make sure you're looking at this number, depending on how high you raise the bed. I think last time I did it was 0. And let's try aligning that. And then if we go align, no. If we zoom in, I think, yeah, it's not even touching it. So let's raise it a little bit higher. Let's push it back. We're just going to make sure we look at it at different views. Yep, a little bit higher. Let's try and align that now. Perfect. Yep, that is what we want. And all we can do here, all you need to do is just copy. So you can even just go option click, and it will just copy it. And all you need to do is then just copy it to each side. And that would be your very own stationary bed. You just got to fix that up. Perfect. All right. Yeah, and that is all done. So yes, if you are 3D printing it, just make sure that you print them all in separate parts. Make sure this is all grouped when you're done. So highlight the whole thing. Whoops. Highlight the whole We'll make sure everything is highlighted and grip it. And then you have your very own stationery bed. This is what it will look like when it's printed. You've got all the compartments, and I've got my stationery in there. Everyone absolutely loves it when they see it. Hope you enjoyed this one. Please leave a comment if you need a hand with anything. Always here to help. Thank you so much for watching.